We all admire the beauty of Saturn. But why? Obviously because of its rings. But were the rings there from the time Saturn was born? Or were they formed somehow? If yes, how were they formed? What are they made of? Why are there gaps in between the rings of Saturn? Why do they shine so bright? Stick to the video till end to find out. Let's start with what are they made of. Most of you will tell rocks. But what if I tell that they are made of water? Fascinating, isn't it? But now please don't imagine an ocean of liquid water around Saturn. Please don't. By water, I mean frozen water. That is ice. Yes, they are made of ice. There are also small chunks of rocks that are asteroids and comets, but most of it is made of ice. But were they present from the time of birth of Saturn? The answer is no. The baby Saturn didn't have any rings. So isn't it worth questioning that how was ice formed there? When Saturn was a newborn baby, it had many moons. One of the moons was around the size of Titan and was made of frozen water. And that moon was very close to Saturn. Before getting further, let me explain you about the Roche limit. The Roche limit is defined as the distance from a celestial body before which it is very unpleasant for any object orbiting it. If this is the Roche limit of any planet and that planet has a moon within this region, then that moon would get ripped apart by the tidal forces by the planet on it. The moon made of frozen water, which was orbiting Saturn back when it didn't have any rings, was closer to Saturn than the Roche limit. Due to this, the moon got ripped apart by the tidal forces of Saturn on it, and the debris started orbiting the Saturn and forming the rings. So now you know how the rings were formed. But have you observed Saturn rings carefully? If not, observe it now. Do you see the huge gap between the rings? That's called the Cassini division, and it is 4,800 kilometers wide. The another gap is known as the Encke division. But why are the gaps there? How were they formed? One of several moons of Saturn holds the answer. A moon named Mimas pulls any object in the Cassini division towards itself, and before the particle hits Mimas, Saturn pulls it from the other side, making it stay in the middle. But what about the Encke gap? If you zoom in towards the Encke gap, you will see an object in it. That is another moon of Saturn named Pan. As Pan moves in its orbit, it pulls any object in the Encke gap towards it, and then the object is thrown away in a slingshot as Pan goes away, making the region empty. Now you know the reason behind gaps in Saturn's rings. By the points I told you till now, can you now guess why do the rings shine so bright? It's because they are made of ice. The ice in Saturn rings reflects sunlight the same way ice reflects sunlight on Earth. The planets Jupiter, Uranus and Neptune also have a ring system of their own, but it is so small that it is not worth mentioning. But what if Earth had Saturn-like rings? Then the sky would look somewhat like this. Now here comes the beast showing its ring system, which spans over 180 million kilometers, 30 million kilometers more than the distance from the Sun to the Earth, the J1407b.